G'day, punters. Welcome to another huge edition of All In, and what a ripping weekend we have ahead with 6 group races headlined by the Makybe Diva Stakes and joined yet again by Lewis Willoughby from Sky Racing and Dean Watling from the Barrier Attendant. First off, Louis, just fresh from the golf course. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Had to go take out some of my anger and some of my frustration and most of my embarrassment from last Monday when just you know what it all started with the scratching of I can't even remember what horse it is now that I was like so certain I'd done my research. This is going to the race. Then it got scratched. Masked Crusader came out of that Sydney race.
Forgot.
My Everest selection, God help me. It was that flat. Poor old Coolangatta. I don't know. We'll touch on that later. I don't know if you can forgive that or not, but I think the Everest is possibly a bridge too far. I was actually considering going to get a mustache and some fake sunglasses to put on and pretend I was someone else for this episode. But no, I'm back. Thanks for having me back, to be honest. I easily could have been fired, so I'm happy to be here.
You've retained your services. You're the Kevin Naguama of the All In show. Righto. Through necessity. Dino, how are you going, mate?
I'm going good. Louis, no stress, mate. It's punters the biggest leveler in the sport, and don't you worry, me and Gannon will stop something this week, no doubt. But the best way to get back on the horse is back a winner and tip a winner. They're racing tomorrow. So last week was absolute chaos. The tracks, the weather, the scratchings, everything was just up in the air. So if you found a winner, props to you because you did most better than everyone else. But we're back this week. Dry tracks in Melbourne. Hopefully Rosehill gets back to a good range, soft range, Gannon, but keen to rip in.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one with the Rosehill track. There's 0 to 15 millimetres of rain predicted. So fair to him. 0 comes, it gets back to a good. 15 comes with working on a heavy. So if you can work it out, you're a genius. Now, boys, speaking of winners, Eduardo, anyone catch it? Wow. Pretty good. What do you reckon? Has it shortened in your eyes? Should it shorten? Has it sort of, come top 3 in the Everest contention, Louis?
Yeah, I think so. The drift, everyone was saying was funny, and it probably was if you were really keen on it to win. But I know that a lot of people, smart people, and bookies had it marked about 290, which is the reason it drifted. Whether or not 290 you thought is the right price or wrong price doesn't matter. But the drift was pretty quickly explained to me on Saturday of why it did. But yeah, bolted in, first up form was great. Heavy form was great. They were backing a few of the Godolphin horses to beat it. Obviously, the Everest runs on a dry track. If it does, then it probably gets out a bit at Eduardo. But yeah, mate, it did absolutely nothing to harm its chances for the Everest, Dino.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was one of the strangest drifts ever. Not as much in the morning. I think at Andermatt probably had the figures down in the weights, wet track, first up, lined up well, but then the continued support throughout the day, even when the pattern of the day was established, you needed to be up on pace. Rails and run was definitely the advantage, but if you wanted to be off rails, you sort of had to be outside the leader. So when the money just kept coming, I thought that was the strangest sort of drift I've ever seen. Yeah, very strange. He's produced a big figure first up, best last 600 of the entire meeting there, albeit over 1,000 meters, but he's big back. Bigger than ever, I think, and he's only lightly raced. So I think the big argument was he's too old now, but he's still got plenty of runs in his legs.
Yeah, I don't know how you mark it 290. If you've marked it 290, give yourself an uppercut. But what I will say is I don't want to be with the horse moving forward because it's going to line up against some of the real good horses coming up. Righto, boys, let's go for a horse to follow. Dino, what do you got?
I got 2, Gano, Handle the Truth, who comes through that race. Best last 4 and last 2 of the entire meeting. That is the best Kosciuszko trial you'll see. I think he did the exact same thing last year. So still around that $9 price in the Cosy. I think this horse deserves to be firm favourite for mine. Benno as well was outstanding. Had everything against off rails, back marker. Best last 4 and last 2 of that race. He is on track for the Metropolitan and even possibly a Cox Plate. So there's 2. Louis, right of the week. You've had no ownerships this week. So
Jack Hill.
Yeah, I could have found a Jack Hill ride probably if I wanted to, but if he's not riding mine, sorry, Jack, I don't really care. So I've gone to Brendan of Dulla on Cadre du Noir. It's no secret that I love a front running ride. There's two types of front running rides. There's the one where they go along at a genuine enough clip in front and nothing else can catch them, e.g. Snap Dancer a few weeks ago. Then there's this one where they walk them in front and no one has the gall to go around. And then just from the 8 to the 6 to the 4, he just starts to slip and slip and slip. And then all of a sudden, the rest of them are off the bridle behind him and he's already established a big enough of a margin to not be caught. And whether or not it was just, of course, the best horse in the race and handled the track, yada, yada, of course, probably did too. But I really liked just how he stacked them and then just slowly increased. And by the time they realised what was going on, he was way too far ahead. So the gun, Brenton, take a bow.
Back the gun. I'll tell you what, boys, surely Timmy Clark on North Star Lass gets a mention. Fair dinkum, he's picked that thing up off the canvas. Wow.
Big.
Wow.
That was big. And I know you guys were on it too, so I just didn't want to, inflate your egos too much, so I left him to the wayside. But yeah, well done.
That is exactly why Gannon mentioned it, Louis.
I would not have mentioned it any other reason. I can barely remember the race. Righto, boys, let's move on to Saturday. What do you got for us, Louis?
Yeah, big week, big weekend coming up. We've got, of course, the Group 1 Makybe Diva down at Flemington. We've got heaps of other group races, not only in Melbourne, but in Sydney as well. Listed races, plenty of action on. We're going to touch on, we've got 5 races here on this show today we're going to touch on. We're going to start with the big one, of course, the Makybe Diva Stakes to be run at the top level, 1,600 metres, weight for age, 3-year-olds and up. Just a quick little recap of how this race has been run and won in the past few years. Incentivise took it out last year first up, which was a bit of an anomaly. You've got 4 of the last 6 winners, either second or third up. 3 of those third up. So that's kind of the mark you want to be at if you're looking historically. Coming through the Group 1 Memsey, 3 of 6 have done that. Fierce Impact came through the Wink Stakes. And, of course, Gannon was a bit of an outlier coming through some Melbourne and Western Australian runs. So that's kind of how it stacks up. Look, I personally don't have a tip in this race as I read out the market. What I do want to mention, though, is that if you're looking to play historically, it's funny, 2 of the last 6 winners in Grunt and Humidor both ran 8th in a Group 1 Memsey before winning this race. If you're looking to play that, the horse that ran 8th in the Memsey this year was Nonconformist. So if you're thinking history can strike 3 times, Nonconformist is who you want to be on. Favourite, those I'm Thunderstruck, fair enough, $3. Fangirl with the tab is $6 with Western Empire, also at $6. Alligator Blood and Cascadian at $8 and Hinged and Moanga and Regal Power are at $11. So I'm sitting out, don't have a real strong opinion. Well, I do. I like I'm Thunderstruck, but not at the price, and I couldn't really touch anything else at that price to beat it. So I'm going to throw this over to Dino for his thoughts.
Yeah, firstly, fellas, what a race on paper. If we get all these horses that line up, it could be one of the races of the spring. I'm Thunderstruck, enormous last start. Fangirl, same boat. Alligator Bud, no luck. And then Cascadian, Hinge, Moanga, and the rest of them. It could be a ripper. I'm similar to you, Louis. I'm sort of in the watch and drink a beer and watch a spectacle at the minute. Fangirl's probably the one I want to watch. She lapped up the Flemington straight last spring. I think Waller does it very well, sending these horses down there. Want to see she's confirmed to go down there. I don't think a price will firm or drift around that $6 price like you mentioned. But for mine early on, I think Fangirl's the one who can go to a new level. Second up here, lap up that straight. But what a ripping race, Gano. How did you see it?
Mate, wow. Just cannot wait to see Fangirl Flemington Mile. Very, very keen, but $6, I don't think it's going to change come Wednesday when the markets come out. So as far as all-in plays go, won't be touching it, but very, very good horse. And I tell you what, I probably came out, and I think I said it a couple weeks ago, you swap the runs between Animo and Fangirl, I think you get a different result last time around. Not suggesting Animo is not the best animal, but if you stop those runs, I think you might get a better result. And for mine, if Animo was lining up here, you wouldn't be getting $6.
And I think, so it sounds like we've all got a opinion more or less, but no betting the race. And that's probably credit to the bookmakers. They've maybe nailed this a bit and we just can't find anything at value. I will say that Alligator Blood was pretty unlucky in the Memsey, but again, to turn it around over Thunderstruck and you're only getting $8, I don't know. It's a tricky one. Well found from the tab. We can't pick that apart too much, and they've got that almost spot on. So let's move forward to a race maybe we can have a bet in. Now, at the time of recording, as I quickly do one more refresh to see if they've given us anything, I don't think we have a market for the Let's Elope. Let's have a look.
Nothing up.
And the answer is no. So, courtesy of Trav Noonan, who does some great work in releasing some likely fields, I'll just go through a few of them that he thinks are going to go to this. 1,400 metres Group 2 set weights and penalties for the mares. Flying Mascot will be there. Kiss on All Four Cheeks, Yearning, Daisies, Glint of Hope, perhaps, Rich Hips, maybe Steinem, and I Am Bene, who was a winner in Melbourne not that long ago, was pretty good for Andy Clark, and so we'll see if it goes there as well. So just a few of those possibly going, a lot of them first up. Kiss on All Four Cheeks was the one I was going to mention just quickly for the Let's Elope. If it does go there, it was a really good third in the Group 3 Cochrane. Second up form is good. 3 wins from 4 starts. 1,400 metres, yes. Apparently Parnham off and Zara on, which I think, just putting a Melbourne rider on is good. So if it's there, depending price, Kiss on All Four Cheeks would probably be my thought there. Gano?
Mate, nothing from me. I'll go straight to Dino.
I like Yearning here, fellas. Was nom to race Saturday, obviously scratched late because of the wet tracks. It has trialled up enormous. That last start trial, take a look, punters. Really good back towards the inside. I think it's one the market might miss. Her form and her ratings probably aren't anything crash hot, but I think she's come back much better. I think she's a winner down the Melbourne way of going too. So I think she can sprint well fresh, and I'll be playing small on Yearning, hopefully around that double figures price. But that rounds out the Let's Elope. Louis, what's next?
Rightio, Let's Elope, done and dusted. So we move on to the Theo Marks. This is another one, personally no bet for me, but market anyhow, 350 Ellsberg in favourite. Mr. Mozart, $4. Hinged is in this market as well at $6. Obviously, boys, we're talking about, not entirely sure where it's going yet. Espiona at $8 with Kementari. Dajran first up with Jamea of $11 and a Tissues of $15 pop for the Theo Marks. I think Dino, the only one with a play in this one.
Yeah, I think we can rule Hinged out of this market. I think Hinged, this is probably a touch too short for Hinged for mine. Ellsberg has been trialling. Disappointing for mine. This horse is a good fresh horse, but I'm really concerned over the trials for Ellsberg. So I can pick the first 2 out in the market there. That lands me on Mr. Mozart. His latest trial was brilliant. He's got that very progressive ratings profile, which I think Gano really likes. He's up on pace. So another reason Gano would probably like this horse as well. But I really like him. I think he's progressive, sort of that 3-year-old, 4-year-old now that probably wasn't the star, but just keeps getting better and better each prep. So Mr. Mozart for me, fellas. I think he'll sprint well here. Tommy Berry in the saddle. And I'm quite keen on him picking apart the market there.
Love your work, Dino. Can't argue with that. What do you reckon, punters? Just chime into the $4, Mr. Mozart. Strong.
He's trialling well too. That latest trial, Dino, was a good win.
Yeah, I like when they're pushed out like that leading into an event. Like you sort of get a better guide on how they're actually going. And Tommy was all praise after it. So it's been well back too. Open 6s on tab and straight into $4. So I think punters are on to the fact that Ellsberg's probably a little bit poor and Hinge potentially not going there. So I think it's a nice play.
Beauty. Okay, Run to the Rose. Of course, this is a key lead in to the Golden Rose. No surprises there. And favourite here is Best of Bordeaux. Actually, equal favourites Best of Bordeaux and Fireburn, $4.50 a pop. Sajardin is a $6 chance. Natuno at $8 with Spacewalk and Swiss Exile. In Secret, Political Debate, She's Extreme. Start them at double figures in $11. Magic's a $15 pop. Let me go first here. I thought that Political Debate was overs in this at $11. You look at the trials on paper and you'd probably say no. I think it was second last and last in both its trials. But if you watch them, they've just been very quiet, not asked to do anything. He looks strong, I think, through the line. Like physically, the way he gallops past the post, I think he looks well within himself. Was lightly raced again as a 2-year-old. I think only had the 4 starts. And just in this race I know we've mentioned it a million times on this show how the 2-year-olds aren't really coming back as 3-year-olds. If you're trying to pick this race apart for value, I just thought he did $11 was better than a $4.50 or $6 for the others. So with no extreme confidence, I think that, cheekily quiet trials, Political Debate, $11. First up, if it comes here, is the way I'd want to angle this. Gano, you've got nada here.
Mate, I'm white flagging these races, fair income.
Dino?
I'll tell you what I will say. Sajardin trial like an absolute jet, and then Abdullah's on Fireburn nationally. I just don't know what to do. Best of Bordeaux will get J-Mac, and I reckon there'll just be handlebars down. But you just want to see it. And I'm looking through this market and I'm thinking, what do you do? Probably the only horse I could entertain, I'd rather wait till Saturday, would be Natuno and just see if you can get double figures. But yeah, nothing for me really at this stage, Dino.
I think you both summed up the race quite well. I know you obviously don't want to chime in, and Louis, you want a sort of double-figured price horse, and I think that just shows that the top horses in the market we just can't trust at the moment. Best of Bordeaux went around $1.90 last start, failed. Fireburn trials have been lackluster. Sajardin trials have been good, but is he going to be ready to go? And Atuno, yeah, he was good last start, but he wasn't sort of great. For mine, I think Spacewalk was brilliant last start. Best 8 to the 2 of the entire meeting. 1,100 metres Rosehill, that does not suit that horse. Should have won the race first up. That was sickening. I think he's going great, improving. Third up, peak fitness. And the other one, Buenos Nachos, copped a massive check at the 300, lost all momentum, picked itself back up, and then ran the best last 2 of the San Domenico race. And it's $26. I don't know how you sort of have that price up. It's very versatile on the run too, can sit forward, sit back. And I think the 1,200 metres, Gannon, you can probably agree here, probably evens this race out a bit more, gives those horses probably back in the market a touch better chance rather than 1,100 metres. They're both shoot races, but
just a little bit of a chance. A little bit, like slightly improved. Not hugely significant, but it's slightly improved. I'll tell you what, though, be honest, nachos, that's what you ordered last Wednesday on Uber Eats, wasn't it, Dino? And it lobbed at the door. Hey?
Yeah, a bit of Gomez and GGYG. Not bad for you.
I love it.
But no, they're my 2 plays. Spacewalk's been really well back to 11s into 8s, Louis, straight away. So fascinating race, and these 3-year-olds, we just can't trust them at the moment. So
yeah, it's getting worse and worse every week. Like, I was so sure Coolangatta was the one, and then I don't know. But anyway, I can't dwell on it. It makes me sick thinking about what happened on Sunday. Let's move on to the last race we're going to focus on here, and it is the Shirako Stakes, or the Sherico Stakes, however you want to say it. Espiona's favourite at $3.50 with tab. Shades of Rose $4, Bella Nipotina $6, Startonte's $8, In Secret $11. Jamea has actually just firmed since I haven't refreshed this market. It's only been up for about 10 minutes on my screen. Jamea goes into $8, and it definitely was at 11 when I brought the market up. Written Beauty is also at 11. It's Me was good and is a $15 chance. Now, I would go first, but I actually am going to save my thoughts for the end here. And I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to push forward to Dino to give his thoughts for the Shirako.
Say the best to last, Louis. Interesting race. I think it's a good race, this. A lot of nice mares that we can sort of back into the spring. My tip in the race, boys, is Written Beauty, and quite keen. Finally had a full preparation under Chris Waller. Obviously went over from the Hawks team to Waller last time in. Probably was a touch disappointing, but this horse sprints well fresh, has that residual Brisbane winter fitness, and the latest trial was very, very good. Sat back and went whooshka, was really strong for the line. Has that on-pace racing pattern, which will suit the Rosehill track brilliantly. And I think around that $11, Written Beauty is a very, very good bet in the Jericho. Gano, anything for you? Finally, maybe?
I agree with Written Beauty. Travelling well and trial is pretty impressive. I'll tell you what, though, Bella Nipotina, at the set weights and penalties, for my maths, was not great, but 56 kilos. Oh, please talk me through that, boys. That's in very, very well. Right? We're talking about a horse here, ran third to Nature Strip down the Flemington Straight last prep, came out and won the Group 2 Sapphire. Good horse. Towed him up in the was it listed Norman Carolyn down in Mexico. It gets in very, very well, and what will happen here is if we get any amount of rain, I think this field might just fall apart a little bit, and she's the one I want to be with. So for $6, I just need some confirmation on that 56 kilos. I sent it on Twitter. Absolute crickets. Fennecam just have all brushed me because I reckon no one else knows the answer. But I'm going to have to get there. As soon as I get off, I'm lobbing on Bella Nipotina at the $6.
Beautiful. The reason I saved myself to last is because I completely agree, and I couldn't have said anything else better myself. I'm also with Bella Nipotina for all the reasons just mentioned. And to save my breath, I let Gano take it off there. And I will also be jumping on. I'm going to actually try and jump on it now just so I can steal that before he gets on it. Because we all know once Gano gets on, mate, once you get on, mate, the price is gone.
No, absolutely
Definitely
not.
might be a late scratching here, fellas.
Oh, no, Louis, no. We'll reverse the curse. All right, boys, give us your best all-in play for the weekend, would you?
Dino?
I'll kick us off. Mine comes up in the Theo Marks, Mr. Mozart, for all the reasons I mentioned before. Mighty hard to beat, best racing profile for that race. Can pick holes in the rest of the field. So Mr. Mozart in the Theo Marks, fellas. Gano, Louis?
Bellini Patina.
Yeah, Bellini Patina. Yep, tick.
All right, boys, let's wrap this show up with a Wednesday or a midweek best bet. Louis Willoughby, kick us off.
Rightio, Sandown. I'm really, really keen to see this horse resume. I had massive raps on it in its first preparation. It won 3 from 4. I'm speaking of Sandown, race 3, number 8, Asfura. Won 3 from 4 last prep, as I said. They were all on the bounce, first, second, and third up. Then went to group level in the Kevin Hayes, ran third to Argentia, and not beaten far either. Really keen to see it come back for a spring campaign. Think it can definitely measure up at black type level again. It's only going to carry 56.5 kilos against a midweek field. So thank you for coming. And I'm not really, obviously, it's not going to be screwed down because they'll have bigger targets in mind, but goes very well fresh as it did on debut. So for me, race 3, number 8, Asfura. Dino.
Yeah, mine comes up race 2 at Canterbury. Orzala, number 8. James McDonald, John O'Shea combo. The Orzala's out of a very nice mare, Norzita, who won a flight stakes and a couple other Group 1s, bred to swim, which will need to a heavy 10 currently at Canterbury. Hopefully it dries out, but trials have been out of the box. Great combo, trainer and jockey, and Orzala, I think, short now, but will be winning on Wednesday. Gano?
Super stuff, boys. I'm going to go Tuesday Scone, something for the battlers. You know, I like going out wide. We're going to go race 3, number 13, lucky for some, most likely us, Press the Pedal. Andrew Gibbons on board. We've got $8 at the moment with Tab, so what a bet that looks like. It's a first starter, a 3-year-old colt by Press Statement, and if you might have caught it, pretty nice trial. Lines up against a few average ones. So there you go, punters. Race 3, number 13 at Scone, Press the Pedal. Right, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, get stuck in, give Dino a wrap and give Louis a spray until Bellini Patina wins. Then you can flip and reverse it and give Louis a wrap and away we go. Boys, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cheers, fellas.